Hello everyone and welcome to Evolution of Terminator Games. The Terminator is a 1991 action-adventure game developed and published by Bethesda Softworks for DOS. The player takes on the role of Kyle Reese and protects Sarah Connor from the Terminator, a cyborg sent back in time to kill her. Alternatively, the player can become the Terminator and eliminate Kyle and Sarah. Terminator 2. The arcade game is a 1991 light gun shooter based on the film of the same name. The game's plot largely follows that of the film, casting up to 2 players as the T-800 Terminator cyborg from the film, sent back in time to protect John Connor from assassination by the T-1000 Terminator. Terminator 2. Judgment Day is an action game released for NES. The NES version includes 5 levels based on the film. The first level is set at a truck stop, where the player must beat up truckers and acquire a motorcycle and gun. The second level is played from a diagonal overhead perspective. The Terminator is a 1992 video game published for NES and Sega consoles. The Terminator is a platform shoot-'em-up game. It takes place across several levels, based on locations from the film. The player takes control of Kyle Reese, a soldier fighting in the human resistance against SkyNET. Terminator 2. Judgment Day. Chess Wars is a chess game developed by Intracorps in 1993. Characters from Terminator 2. Judgment Day act as chess pieces. White is the human side, with the T-800 as king, Sarah Connor as queen, to John Connors as bishops. RoboCop vs. the Terminator is a 1993 run and gun game. It is based on the 1990 to 4-issue comic book miniseries of the same name, which is a crossover between the RoboCop and Terminator franchises. In the game, you control RoboCop, who may move across the screen, jump, fire, and exchange weapons. The Terminator Rampage is a first-person shooter video game released by Bethesda Softworks in 1993. Players explore each level searching for the stairs, leading down to the next level, with the SkyNET computer core located underground. The game contains dungeon crawl elements, as the nature of the game's maze-like levels. The Terminator Future Shock is a first-person shooter video game based on the Terminator fictional universes developed by Bethesda Softworks in 1995. Each level in the game requires the player to solve a number of objectives before continuing to the next level. SkyNET is a 1996 computer game based on the Terminator media franchise. SkyNET is played in the first-person perspective. Each of the 8 levels in the game require the player to solve a number of objectives before continuing to the next level, while fighting enemy Terminators with a wide variety of guns and grenades. The Terminator Dawn of Fate is a 2002 video game developed by Paradigm Entertainment. The Terminator Dawn of Fate is a third-person shooter game. The camera angles are preset to fixed positions, and they change with each new area that the player enters. The player can also enter a first-person perspective for easier aiming, but cannot move while in this mode. The game features 10 levels, each one tasking the player with various mission objectives. Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines is a first-person shooter video game based on the film of the same title, with elements of hand-to-hand combat in the third-person perspective. The player plays the role of the T-850, and in some levels shoot their way through enemy cyborgs or drones with a selection of weapons such as assault rifles, rocket launchers, or grenade launchers. There are levels that require the player to protect allied characters from armed enemies. Terminator 3 War of the Machines is a 2003 first-person shooter video game based on the film. The game takes place during a post-apocalyptic war between SkyNET's Terminator machines and the TechCom human team. The player chooses which team to join, and each character is labeled with their team affiliation to inform other players. 3 game modes are featured: the online multiplayer team deathmatch mode. Terminator 3 The Redemption is an action-adventure video game based on the 2003 film. The player takes the role of a T-850 Terminator. Several levels are played on foot as the player fights against other Terminators. The player can use various guns against enemies and can also engage them in hand-to-hand combat. The player can also use detached road signs as weapons. Terminator Salvation is a third-person shooter action video game released in 2009 to coincide with the release of the film. Terminator Salvation is a third-person shooter where the player needs to constantly move, flank, cover, and utilize their squad to progress. The player must battle SkyNET enemies from the film of the same name as well as new enemies specifically designed for the game. The game features a campaign that can be played alone or cooperatively. Terminator Genisys Revolution is a 2015 video game made for iOS and Android, developed by Glue Games Inc. The game is a third-person view. It is a shoot-and-cover-on-rails game and features 3 types of missions with different weapons: sniper rifle, shotgun, and assault rifle. Terminator Genisys Future War is a 2017 mobile MMO strategy video game created by Plarium. In Terminator Genisys Future War, players construct buildings, improve their base, train their troops, upgrade their leader, and create and develop clans. In total, 48 unit types are available to the player. Terminator Dark Fate: The Game is a mobile game based on the 2019 film Terminator Dark Fate. In Terminator Dark Fate: The Game, players will take command of a faction of resistance fighters and will have to recruit and level up units, research new technologies, build out their resistance base, and form alliances with other players. Terminator Resistance is a 2019 first-person shooter game developed by Tian and published by Reef Entertainment. Terminator Resistance is set in a post-apocalyptic 2028 and 2029 Los Angeles. Players take on the role of Jacob Rivers, a soldier from the Resistance led by John Connor against SkyNET's robotic killing machines. The game features multiple possible endings. The game is based on the Terminator franchise. Terminator Dark Fate Defiance is a 2020 for real-time strategy video game developed and published by Slytherin Software. The player assumes the role of a commander in the Founders, a group consisting of ex-US military personnel. A multiplayer mode also features 2 additional teams. Terminator Survivors is an upcoming survival game based on the Terminator franchise. The game is set after the first of films, featuring an original story that takes place after Judgment Day and before the rise of John Connor's human resistance. The game is set in an open world and will focus on salvaging supplies and resources to manage and improve a base of operations while fighting off SkyNET's machines and other humans. It will include single-player and cooperative game modes.